Hello everyone, I'm recording at the uni and because of policies regarding masks, I'm feeling like a real code ninja today, but I've tested the recording, you can still hear me through the mask, so all is good. In this video, I'm going to show you CodePen. It's an online tool where you can create websites, so let's go and find it. We go to codepen.io. I'll zoom in so you can see that. There we go, codepen.io. I'll hit return and here we are. The big advantage to using CodePen is it keeps a tool in one place online. You don't have to download separate programs for HTML editing, for uploading to hosting it online, all of these things that you normally need for creating a website. You can sign up for free, and importantly, you can share your work. So all you have to do is create your project on CodePen and submit the final link, and we can mark that. And you can have a look at a lot of other people's work. Now, of course, most of this is very, very advanced stuff, but you can have a look at and see exactly how other people have coded their work. So let's sign up. Click on the sign up button to sign up. You can click on login if you already have an account. Now, if you really want to tie in your social media accounts to CodePen, by all means, you can use Twitter, GitHub or Facebook, or, as I would recommend, sign up with your email instead. You can use your name here. A username. Now, it might be a good idea to use your actual name so we know whose work we're marking, but you don't have to. You can use any name you want. Use your Swinburne email, I would recommend, because otherwise, if you're anything like me, you have upwards of 7 or 8 different emails, and it can become really difficult to remember which email you're using for which purpose. If you keep all of your Swinburne student projects under your Swinburne email address, it just makes it easy to go into one place and find it, but that's up to you. So it might be something like 1234567 at student.swin.edu.au. Do check what your email address is though, and then create a nice complicated password that no one else is going to guess. A good idea can be to use combinations of words together. Don't just use one word like sparkle or something like that, because that is very easy to hack with tools that people have out there. But if you combine a couple of very unusual words together like sparkle, tree, frog, 97 Mazda, they're incredibly difficult for people to hack at this stage. So just a bit of a tip there. Do not reuse a password across the internet. So don't use your actual Swinburne password here. Create a new password for each website. You can always use a password manager if you want to make it easy to access all of those. If you don't know about password managers, do contact me and I can point you in the direction of some good resources. So once you do your password, of course, you click submit. Now let's get started in CodePen. This is the dashboard. You can get back here by clicking on CodePen in the top left or clicking on the symbol at any stage. It usually opens up to the trending page, and that shows off the work of professional coders, so don't get intimidated. You can have a look at some of the cool stuff they do, but you certainly shouldn't try to incorporate any of that code into your work simply because it will be very complicated. So to create a new project, you can just click on pen over here. Don't click on project. Project is actually a lot more complicated. It's where you have multiple files, and we don't want that. We just want to work on one at a time. So I'm just going to click on pen there. Great. Now let's give this a name. Up in the top left, we've got our little pen that you can click on, your pencil, and I'm going to call this week 01. Okay, and it should have your name below that. And there we go. I'm going to close this ad down here. We've got a blank project at the moment, and just to take you through each of the sections, this is your HTML editor pane, this is CSS, and this is JavaScript. We're not touching JavaScript with a barge pole, so I'm going to click on the arrow there and click on Minimize JavaScript Editor to get that out of the way a bit. Okay, so HTML, what is it? Hypertext Markup Language. That means that it's not a programming language where it creates its own little program. It requires a browser to interpret what you're putting in. So if I put in some text, so this is a newsletter, for instance, that appears in our preview window. The preview window is to the right. Now, it's just plopping it on there as text. It's not knowing what that text intrinsically means, though, because I haven't told it. So how do you do HTML? You use tags to tell a browser exactly what the text is. So just say this is going to be our most important heading on the page. We would do pointy bracket H1 and then a pointy bracket. And see how it's now really big. If I zoom in here, let's have a look at it. Okay, so this here is a tag, and it's telling the browser anything that follows this needs to be a level 1 heading. It's that important. And that's important for search engines, it's important for screen readers, and so many things. Okay, and then when we decide, okay, that's enough text, we want to stop the heading, you do a close tag. So again, I got my pointy bracket, but this time I put a / and then I type the same thing again, H1. And that means that any text following it, if we have a look, if I zoom out, that is back to its normal state again, because it knows, the browser knows that this has told us finish the heading here. Okay, we don't want any free floating text, so I'll just delete that. Now you see how this just jumped around? That's because I need to click save. Do save regularly. It will keep showing you ads if you have a free account though. So the CSS, we'll teach you that as we go. All you need to know for now is that this is the visual style. While H1 will make the text bigger, that's the extent to what HTML does visually. It's really not the design part of the program. So for any style, it's a bit like InDesign. If you throw some text on the page, you need to style it using styles, and this is your style sheet, cascading style sheet. So let's style the H1, and this is telling the browser anything between an opening and closing H1 tag, I want you to do this. The syntax is a bit different. We use a squiggly bracket instead of a pointy one. You'll find that by hitting the shift key and the bracket key to the right of P on your keyboard. So we're styling H1. What exactly is the characteristic we're going to change? Let's just change the color for now. Do note it's in American spelling, so I give the characteristic I want to change, so color. Then I use a colon, and then I tell it what color to change it to. I'm just going to keep it simple and use a named color. And you can see already it's changing to blue. Put a semicolon afterwards. We'll talk about why later. So here we go. We've got our first lot of code, and it's saying, please save. Here we go. I'll just save it, and that's all good. So what are the other things you can do in this page? Well, we can change the view up here. Right now, I've got my editors to the left. I've got my preview to the right, but just say it's not working for me. And I might want to change it so my editors are at the top and my preview is at the bottom, or to the right and the preview to the left. And that makes it much easier there. I can even have a look at it in the full page. So I can click on this And there we go. We've got rid of the editors entirely, and we can see what our website looks like in full view. I'm going back to the editor view again. So that's really useful as well. We can pin it so that it makes it easier to find in the future. The settings are here. We don't need them at the moment, but if you want to change the title or give it a description, you can do that right now. You can delete it if you no longer want it, but use that with caution, of course. Add to collection. This is a useful one. So I'm going to click on that. Let's create a new collection, and I'm going to call it Web Design 2021. Hit enter. And I've now got a collection where I can put all of my different files, which will be really handy. We have fork. Now, fork sounds weird. Think of it like a fork in the road where you still have your original project, but you can create a copy. So if I click fork, I'm going to change this to, let's call this week 2 now. So just say I'd finished week 1. I'm going to call it week 2. Okay, so I've got that. Now, you don't need to know these other ones at this stage. When we come to submitting your work, you'll need share, and you'll copy the link there. But for now, we don't need that right now. Okay, let's go back to our dashboard. And if I go to my work here, you can see I have 2 different pens here. I've got week 1, and I've got the one that I forked to create a new project in week 2. Now, you can fork other people's projects, so you can play around with the code, but do not submit someone else's work as your own work, because, of course, that is plagiarism. Okay, and if we go and have a look up here to collections, we can see I've got Web Design 2021, and I have the week 1 project in there. I don't have the week 2 because I didn't add that. But you can add the projects and collections like that. So that gives you a quick overview of CodePen.